welcome back. Today is April the 18th and my son's birthday party is April the 29th. So I have a very short amount of time to get some major things done. Today I really need to tackle getting his pinata made, so I thought we could just hang out together. I could take you guys along with me, show you the process. In case you're interested in trying to make a pinata of your own, maybe you can gather some good tips and tricks today. And I do want to apologize in advance, but the next few videos are going to be all birthday related. It's just the season of life that I'm in right now. So I hope you guys can be patient with me and be understanding, and hopefully once we get past all the birthday things, we can get back into some different content. But let's go ahead and get this pinata started and see what we can get done. So I have just a plain old Amazon box here, and it's filled with a bunch of different goodies that we're going to need to get this done. But we're going to go through it step by step, and I'll explain it to you guys along the way. So let's go ahead, jump into it, and get this going. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick second and get all of this stuff that I have in here moved out, because we are going to have to cut this box down into whatever pinata shape you prefer. So let's go ahead and get it all moved out, and then we will move on, see how much stuff I can carry. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this box broke down. It's got the tape on the back side here, so I just want to go ahead and get that cut so that this box will lay flat for me. So the next thing that I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut this along the side here. I don't know how to explain it other than showing you guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that too. Okay. So basically, so I can have a big old deconstructed flat box. So now that the box is completely flat, you can see that it's still connected right here, and then it is connected down here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my box blade, and I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these too, so that I can have perfect flat squares. So I do want to say, depending on how big your pinata is, you may need more than one box, but if you were going to make like a square shaped pinata, if you didn't want to do any cutting, then you could just tape this box right back up and you would be good to go. But I'm going to do a circle shape, so I've got to get mine all cut down. So like I said, I'm just going to cut it on those edges so that I have perfect flat squares. You could do this with like a foam board if you want to, but I know most of us have some type of Amazon box probably laying around, and so this way you don't have to go out and buy something else. You can just reuse what you have at home and save yourself about $1 that you wouldn't have to spend on that foam board. So just be careful, get it all cut down, and then we're going to move on to making our shape and getting our shape cut out. So like I said, I was going to make mine in a circle shape, and I just pulled out one of my big skillet lids. It's about the biggest circle that I can find in my house. So I'm just going to get that on there, and I'm going to get this traced. You can do any type of shape that you want. If you want to do a heart, do a heart. A star, if you wanted to do a number pinata, or maybe you wanted to make a character design. All you got to do is get it on there, trace it with a pencil, and we're going to make that same shape on 2 of these boards. Well, not 2 of these boards, on 2 of these cardboard boxes. What are words today? So I just did a circle on this one, and I'm going to move over and do that same exact circle on this one as well. If you were doing like a freehand shape, You could definitely do your shape and then cut it out and just trace it onto the next board. I keep saying board, guys. You can, if you have a free-handed shape that you're wanting to do, you could go ahead and get that traced out on one of your pieces of cardboard, cut it out, and then just trace it onto the next one so you can get more of a uniformed shape. So if you have something that you can put on your countertop or wherever you're cutting to protect it, that would be great. I'm just going to use one of those other pieces of cardboard underneath here because it's okay if it has some cuts and some dings in it. So I'm just going to take my box knife and get this circle cut out. You could use a pair of scissors if you feel more comfortable doing that. I just find that when I use the box blade, I get more smoother lines and it's not as hard on my wrist to get it cut out as it is with scissors. So like I said, if you were doing this with foam board, you're going to follow the same exact steps as if you were using cardboard. So I'm just going to take a second and get this completely cut out. So I have a little bit of this edging right here that didn't want to come off completely. You can just take a pair of scissors to it, cut it off, or just rip it away. This is eventually all going to be covered, so it's okay if you rip some of it away. Okie doke, so I'm just going to do the same exact thing and get my other circle cut out as well. I'm just going to kind of line them up on top of each other, make sure there's not anything that's hanging over too terrible, just making sure for the most part that they are uniform. These parts right here that whatever you cut your design out of, don't throw these away, keep these because we may need these later. So now that you have your two shapes cut out, we need to create a border so that our pinata can have some thickness to it. That way we can stuff it with stuff. So what you're going to do is you're going to take those other pieces of cardboard, those squares that we cut out, and we need to cut it into strips. Now, depending on how thick you cut your strips will be how thick your pinata is. So if you want a thinner one, then I suggest you do thinner strips. If you want a thicker pinata, then you do thicker strips. I like to eyeball mine and do about 2 inches, 1.5 inches. So I just take that other piece of cardboard so I have a straight edge and I line it up on there. And then I'm just going to start creating strips with my pieces of cardboard. And I'm just going to repeat the process until I have all of my strips cut out. cardboard strips that you need is really going to depend on the size of your piñata. So what I am meaning by that is you want to take whatever image it is that you cut out, and you're going to place it down, and you're basically wanting to make sure that you have enough of these strips to go around the complete edging of your piñata. So I should have more than plenty to do this circle. It's probably going to take about 3 of these, but it's okay to have extras. So like I said, just lay your image down, kind of do a rough guesstimate of how many it's going to take to cover it. Now, as you can see, while I am sitting here trying to guess if these are going to fit, let me turn it this way, that when I bend this, it is not lining up perfectly to this edge. There is a big gap there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this strip, and you're basically going to start rolling it onto itself like this, and it's going to help give some curvature to these cardboard strips and make them really pliable and easy to bend. So I just go down and bend them on one side. I'll flip it over and give it a bend on the other side, and I just keep doing this until it has lots of good give to it so that I can shape it around my image. So you can see after I worked it over, it's a lot more bendable. I can fold it a lot easier. So when I put it back up against here, I can really shape it closely to the edge of my piñata shape. So I'm just going to repeat the process and get all of these other strips bended up as well. So a closer look here, if you will take both of your thumbs and just press down onto that, you can feel the inside of this give away and it compresses. So I just take my thumbs and just push down all the way until it releases a lot of that stiffness that's in the cardboard. So I will do it on that side all the way down, and then I will flip it and do the same exact thing to this side. And for the most part, that gets it about every single time to be able to bend how you're needing it to bend. So now that you have all of your strips, we need to go ahead and we need to connect these to the outside of whatever image you chose to cut out. Now, I like to use hot glue. And the reason that I like to use hot glue is it seems to have a stronger hold, especially when you have older kids beating the crap out of these things. If you are more comfortable with using tape, you could go ahead and you could just tape it to the edging of this, but I am going to warn you that they do not hold up as well as if you're using the hot glue. But if you're making this piñata for little kids, then the tape would probably work out just fine. It would break a lot easier. But the hot glue definitely has a stronger hold, and it lasts for multiple hits so that more kids can have a turn to hit the piñata before it breaks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting some hot glue right here on the edging of this. And then I'm just going to line this piece up right here to the edge so that it glues flat. I'm going to give it a second to kind of cure and dry, and then I'm going to repeat the process all the way around. So I'm going to try to turn this so that you guys can see a little bit better. All we have is that one little bit of glue that we put on the outside of here, but we have all of this extra. Once you start getting more of this edging around, it's going to be harder to follow the edge here. So what you can do is just push it up against the edge, and you can add glue right here on the inside seam of this. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I'm going to move you guys a little bit closer so you can see what's going on in here. Okay. So I'm just going to push it flat and hold it right there close to the edge as good as I can. And add some hot glue right here. And see how it pulls away. So just hold it flat right up against that edge until that glue has a chance to kind of form back up into a solid piece, dry a little bit. So we have our strips glued all the way around our edging here. I did go through and put another really thick band of glue all the way around on the inside just to make sure it really holds together sturdy. So before we can put our top piece on this, we need to create some holes here so that we can hang our string through our piñata. So let's go ahead and get that done. We have to do this first because if we have our top on here, we have no way to work on the inside of our piñata. So once you get your edging all the way around the shape of your piñata, you want to determine what is going to be the top of your piñata so that you can hang your string. Because mine's a circle, it really doesn't matter, but if you're doing a specific shape, then make sure you put your string at the top of cording so that your piñata doesn't hang upside down. So all I do is I go on the inside and I make a couple of dots so that I have a reference point to be able to punch holes through these. I like to leave a pretty big gap in between my holes because we are going to cut this out to make a flap so that we can fill this with candy. So you could use a pair of scissors, just anything to make a hole through those dots that you made, or you can use a hole punch. That's what I like to do because it's really easy just to hole punch it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and work my hole punch down there and just press it, and then it just makes a nice little circle there for me to thread my string through to hang my piñata. Okay, so now that we have the holes in the top of our piñata, we need to run rope through them. I really suggest that you use a thicker nylon rope. You really want something that has a good strength to it so that it can hold up your piñata, especially once you add the weight of the candy. Because the last thing that you want is for your rope to break while everyone's taking turns hitting the piñata. So in Walmart, they do sell in the crafting section some crafting rope for $1.97. And that's what I started using when I first started making piñatas. But over the years, I have found that this clothesline wire works really well. So if you can get your hands on this, definitely use this. But if not, that crafting rope works really good too. Or maybe check out over in like the automotive section or the hardware section, the boating section, just some kind of thick, durable rope. So I'm going to go ahead and get mine cut down, and the length really depends on you. It just depends on how high or low you want your piñata to hang. So I'm going to go ahead and get mine cut so we can run it through our holes and get it glued down and move on to the next step. So now that I have this cut, all I'm going to do is run each end of this through those holes right here. And then I'm going to take some glue and glue these down in place along the edging right here, and then I'm going to pop some tape on top of that as well to add extra strength so that my rope doesn't end up coming back out as it's being hit and it's swinging around. So I'm just going to get these glued down and taped down, and then we'll move on. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and cut the flap right here between these two pieces of rope. That way we'll have a way to fill our piñata. So all I do is I start at the top. You could use a pair of scissors or your box blade, and I just cut down, but I do not go any further. Once I hit the bottom right here, I go ahead and I stop, and then I'm going to turn it up. And I'm just going to follow that line backwards, like so. That way I have just a little flap created like this. That way I can fill it with candy, and I'm going to go ahead and push it back that way. Now we can move on, and we can put that top piece around and get it glued down. So to secure that top piece, all I did was I ran glue around the whole edge and then put my top piece on and held it into place until that glue completely dried. And I do have some glue that ran on the sides, and that is okay because we are going to cover that. If you have some gapping like this, you can go ahead and you can add more glue here to kind of fill in those gaps if you want to. If you're not comfortable with gluing the top on, you could definitely tape the top as well. But as you can see now, we have a completed piñata that has a top and a bottom and an inside. We have a flap and we have our string. So the next thing that we need to move on to is getting this piñata covered and decorated. Okay, so the way that I cover my piñata is I take some crepe paper, but you could definitely use tissue paper if you wanted to. I just cut mine down into rectangle shapes, making sure they're all about the same length. And I will pop some glue on top, just a little bit. Put that on top of the glue, and then pinch up the sides. And I will repeat the process until the front, the back, the sides, all of it is covered with my paper. So I know that this is painstaking, and there's definitely many ways to go about this. If you just wanted to lay it down completely flat like this and go down in lines until it's completely covered, you could definitely do that. It really depends on the style of how you want your piñata to look, but I like the way that this looks. So I'm going to go ahead and pop on a podcast, get to it, and get this knocked out.
You wanna be, do what you wanna do.
have my entire pinata covered, front, back, all the sides. So now I just need to take a second and attach my image to the front of my pinata. Now, this is just one that I got online and found it was a free printable. So I'm just going to hot glue it to the center right here. But feel free to find any kind of image that matches your theme. What's really fun about this is you could even have your kids like color a picture that you could attach to the front, or if you're really in a pinch, you could take one of the party plates that matches your party and just glue it to the middle. However you want to do it, but like I said, I'm going to take a second, get this glued on, and then we're going to get this pinata filled with candy. I almost forgot to mention, I am going to add some ribbon to the bottom of our pinata to make like a little tail. I'm just using some balloon string that matches my pinata's colors, but you could also buy a pre-made present ribbon and just stick it to the bottom of your pinata and hot glue it down, and that works really well too. So I'm just going to get this attached, then we're going to fill this pinata with candy. So definitely feel free to fill your pinata up with whatever you would like, but I have always filled mine up with Dum Dum suckers, because if I'm making this for a client or somebody that's not a part of my initial family, especially if we're inviting kids from the school that we don't really know too much about when it comes to their allergies, Dum Dum suckers are free of all major allergens. So it doesn't have peanuts, tree nuts, milk, eggs, fish, shellfish, wheat, or gluten. So I really love that. I feel like it's a safe bet to bet on, and all the kids have always loved the Dum Dum suckers in the pinata, so that's what I stick to. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pinata filled up and see how much we can fill inside of there. So we just have that little opening flap right there that we left open, and I've got my pinata filled, I think, as much as I can feel it. And I did want to let you guys know that on Ibotta right now, they do have a rebate at Walmart for you to get some money back on Dum Dum suckers. So if you want to, keep that in mind so that you can earn some money back. That's always great. But I think that we have got this about as full as we're going to get it. Well, friends, we did it. We basically got it all done, and that is another check off of the to-do list. I'm really hoping that you guys learned something new here today, and I want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. I had a blast with you guys as always, and be sure to come back and check in with me as we make our way through some more of this birthday prep together.